and welcome to our speaker series of the Soul Care program with today's Singing for the Journey with Kate Munger. My name is Astrid Raffin-Palos, a Volunteer Services Manager at Volunteer Hospice of Clallam County. For those of you unfamiliar with Volunteer Hospice, it was founded by a nurse, Rose Crumb, in 1978 here on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State. We are one of the very few independent hospices offering nursing care without billing Medicare, Medicaid, or any other insurance company. All our services are provided free of charge, and we have a lot of flexibility in how we offer those services. This speaker series is part of the Soul Care program designed to offer education and awareness events to shift the narrative about death and dying away from death-phobic culture. The speaker series is scheduled every other month, and the next one will be May 10th with Reverend Linda Elaine Carey, a chaplain and a death doula with many other qualifications, and she will talk about spiritual care. The Soul Care program also offers monthly death cafes, which we named Tea to Die For. These are informal in-person gatherings here in Port Angeles and in Sequim for people to share their thoughts about death and dying over cookies and tea. All details are available on our website, volunteerhospice.org. As the Volunteer Services Manager, I get to design and implement our non-clinical programs. In doing so, I have the privilege of making new friends or reconnecting with old friends. And today my heart is singing at being in the company of a person who shaped my life in so many ways and not just in singing. She is that kind of a woman that touches your heart and teaches you lessons you didn't even know you needed. And she does so ever so gently. Today is also International Women's Day, a significant day for many of us. And this month, March, celebrate the birth of the Special Choir. Happy birthday, Special Choir. I do believe in the golden thread that takes us on our journey, and that is why we are all here today. And now, without any further ado, I'm gonna let Kate Munger introduce herself a little bit, even though I can say that she's a founder of the Special Choir. She's now retired, and she's a songwriter and a song leader. Kate, welcome.
Thank you, Astrid. You did make me cry, which is a great way to start this talk, since we are all part of what you called the death-phobic culture. We are also tear-phobic. I call it lacrimophobia. And I know that when I tear up, it's something important has happened. And so thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And thank you all for showing up and spending your lunch hour with us today. I could talk endlessly about this work, this organization, our songs. And so thank you for adding your voice to mine today. It's a big topic. It is sometimes can be triggering. I hope you'll take really good care of yourself. And what I'd like to address any questions you have. So please raise your electronic paw by hitting the reaction bar at the bottom of the Zoom screen when you'd like to speak. And when there's a cluster of you queued up with questions, I'll stop and take a break and probably answer questions 3 times during this session. If you, I may sing a song, I will sing a song. If you would like to hear from me personally, please put your email in the chat. We'll collect them that way. So I think I'll talk a while and start by saying how we've lost the center of our understanding that death creates meaning in our lives. It's the work of the Threshold Choir and other organizations to return death to the the creator of meaning, and the creating, to honor and normalize death as an important, inescapable part of life, and honoring it with song like we do the beginning of a life. It seemed right to me to sandwich a life of possible joy and harshness with lullabies on each end. And I also feel strongly that song, which is a noun, but it is weightless, colorless, um, massless, might be a hint about what's to come once we are not using our bodies the way we do. To me, I think songs might be a bridge to the beyond. So I feel so honored to be able to call on singing as a way to sit with someone at this precious point in their lives. I started the choir on March 21st, 7:30, the year 2000, in Catherine Osborne's living room in El Cerrito, California. Astrid was there. There were 15 of us who conceived of this and attended the first practice. I will say that when the sun set that night, the room was filled with golden, rosy light that indicated to me that something really important had just happened. 10 years before, I had sung at the bedside of a dear friend, Larry, who was dying of HIV/AIDS. I was already a singer and led community singing. And when I sang, when I spent the day volunteering with Larry, it became clear that my job in the afternoon was to sit by his bedside. And he was comatose and agitated. So as a 40-year-old, I was terrified. And so I did what I do when I'm afraid, and that is I start singing. And I sang the same song for him for 2.5 hours. And I slipped into an altered state, and he calmed down immediately. And at the end of that 2.5 hours, I realized that I had given the very best thing I could give to him. I gave him my depth, my calm, my presence, my deep love. And I thought this was something that other people might want to share. Turns out I was right. It took me 10 years to upgrade my skills to start the Threshold Choir. My goal originally was 500 singers in the San Francisco Bay Area where I live. That happened very easily, and now 23 years minus 13 days, there are over 200 choirs around the world.
I'm on, what do you call it? A Zoom meeting. I'll talk to you later.
I didn't start out to create a worldwide movement. I made plenty of mistakes along the way, and I'm always and truly grateful for the mission, the growth, the beautiful repertoire, which I'll get to later. And at first I started, instead of counting sheep at night, I would think about all the people that were being sung to that day. And I would fall asleep instantly. And then I started thinking about all of the people that created this purpose in their life of bringing an artistic, comforting, beautiful service to the bedsides of people who are dying. And now that's the way I get myself to fall asleep. I think about all the singers, and I think about all the connections between the singers, because there's no stronger friendship generator than singing with somebody and offering as prayer your voice to another who needs comfort. I'm seeing head nodding, and I'm appreciating that you all know what I'm talking about. I am today preaching to the choir. There's no doubt about it. um, Members of the choir are mostly people who have had a significantly wonderful experience in choral singing sometime in their life, in high school, college, college, community choirs. And we know what it takes to make a beautiful sound with a group of people. So we know that it's not our voice that is the primary. It's the blend, and the blend of voices is what makes the magic and turns regular singing into prayer. I'd like to talk about our repertoire. It's over 500 songs, curated diligently, devotedly, beautifully, and elegantly by Ellen Rose. And the songs are primarily written by choir members. I would say 95%. These are songs that we got to a bedside and something happened and we needed a song we didn't have, so we went home and we wrote that song. Or we were out on a walk and the rhythmic footsteps created a rhythm and a tune, and that song became a song that we could sing at a bedside. It's an extraordinary collection of music. I don't think anything exists like it on the planet, unless you go to a tribal, an ancient still existing tribe who have curated songs for generations to address the needs of the members of that tribe. It's folk music in the very best sense, and it's so unique. I'm trying to figure out in my life how to protect it, how to create a format so that it's appreciated, honored, curated, and maintained over time. I will stop and ask about questions, and I hope you know where the reaction bar is down at the bottom of your screen. Wondering if anybody wants to say anything so far. Seeing no hands, I'll move on. Sometimes we get to a bedside and we something else has taken precedence. A bath by a hospice volunteer, for instance. Or we arrived at a bedside once, two of us, and the patient had died just before we got there. And this was early in the life of the choir, and we said thank you so much, and we turned around and started to leave, and the niece of the woman who had died said, wait a minute, as we got to the street, she said, would you like to come in and sing? Oh, yes, we would. And we were invited to sing at the foot of this woman's bed while a hospice volunteer, her two best friends from kindergarten 80 years ago, and her niece washed, oiled, and dressed her body. It was one of the most moving experiences of my life to um, be connected to that activity and that beautiful send-off for a woman that her friends had known all of their lives. Another bedside that is memorable for me is the bedside of an infant daughter of a Cuban percussionist who was born with severe problems and lived 19 days. And we were invited to sing on the 17th day. And because Spanish was the language of this family, we thought, we worked up all of our songs in Spanish. And then we finished them pretty quickly because this again was early on. And the dad said, well, would you sing something for the baby's grandmother? She's Irish. And that week, Maria Culberson had written her beautiful song, From My Heart to Yours. Am I going to sing it or am I going to just, I'll sing it to you. And I have to say, when Maria sang this for me in the car, I had to pull over. I was weeping so hard when she first wrote it. Here it goes. From my heart to yours, a song without end. I can offer you comfort and healing, my friend. Though I cannot go with you, your journey goes on. I can laugh with you, cry with you, sing till you're won. Your freedom from suffering, release from all fear. May you find all the love that you needed was here. I love seeing all of you singing along. Thank you so much. So that last line, may you find all the love that you needed was here, really affected the family. And from that moment, they stopped measuring their baby's life in terms of hours and days. They started thinking about her life in terms of how much love had been generated and received. And to me, that's the best use of one of our songs. It wasn't an Irish song, certainly, but it kind of sounds like it a little bit. And I'm glad I just sang for you in a morning kind of voice, because I want to remind us all that it's not the fancy voices that are the ones that are going to be really effective at bedsides. It's the plain voices. It's the simple voice, the voice with so little vibrato, you just can hardly, you can't detect much. It's the mother's voice singing a lullaby to a baby that is what we want to hear. And really, any song can be sung at a bedside. And I chose a couple that I have sung at bedsides to illustrate this. The first one is, and you can sing along. Oh, I need your love, babe. I guess you know it's true. I hope you need my love, babe, just like I need you. Hold me, love me, hold me, love me. I ain't got nothing but love, babe. 8 days a week. That's a bedside song. I could go on that one, but then you could sing, oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. What beautiful imagery to offer somebody at a bedside. You could sing, oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the open country that I love. Don't fence me in. I have to keep going because I just love, oh, and it's not this one. I like the, oh, here. I want to rise on the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon till I lose my senses. Here's my favorite line. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. That's a bedside song. And this one, you be the judge. It's getting near dawn. When light close their tired eyes, I'll soon be with you, my love, and give you my whole surprise. I'll be with you, darling, soon. I'll be with you when the stars start falling. I've been waiting so long to be where I'm going, in the sunshine of your love. Anything sung with intention, gentleness, softness, presence, and compassion can be a bedside song. Last one. This one I offered to a man in a workshop, and he was sitting in the reclining chair that we use to practice singing for each other, singing at bedsides. Made him weep, sob. Who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me? M-I-C-K-E-Y M-O-U-S-E. Hey there, hi there, ho there, you're as welcome as can be. M-I-C, see you real soon. K-E-Y, why? Because we like you. M-O-U-S-E. And even though I can't hear you, I can feel the harmonies that you're singing. And to me, it's the harmonies that bring the aspect of prayer to the bedside. When we're blending and no voice is predominating, it turns it automatically into a prayer, because egos have been left at the door. So I think I want to address, maybe I better look at the chat because I have not been doing that.
Yeah, I have looked at the chat a little bit. So there was a question about whether the recording will be available to share with chapters. What I can say is that Volunteer Hospice will put the recording on the website. It will be a YouTube recording, and so it's accessible to any and all. And our website is volunteerhospice.org. I will put that in the chat. Oh, Kate, there was a question from Cynthia. Kate, would you please complete this beautiful statement? Yours, of course. The blend of voices is what makes the magic and turns ... into prayer.
Into prayer. Turns performance into prayer. I don't think that's what I said, but that's what I usually say. I'm so glad to see all your faces. I want to say there have been challenges. We started out as an all-woman organization because to me it felt like women's bodies were the pathway through that where life begins, and that it was harmonious to then have women's bodies at the end of life. When we became a nonprofit, it became clear that offering the opportunity for gentlemen to join us was important, and each local chapter was empowered to make the decision about whether they would become co-ed or not. And I would say that there are, I'd say about 5% of our singers are men, and the men that do this work are the best. They are the best, and they're the ones that you would want to be at a bedside with, for sure. We are also extraordinarily privileged human beings, mostly white, and we have an extraordinarily responsive committee to honor diversity, promote diversity, keep us on our toes, and keep us educated about our privilege. And you don't have to join a threshold choir to do this work. Each one of us has joined the organization that gives you permission to sing at a bedside, and that's the human race. And we've handed over an awful lot of our responsibilities for one another to the mortuary industry, to hospitals, to all kinds of aspects of modern culture. And I'm really proud that the Threshold Choir brings us back to our responsibility to the deaths of our people, our tribe. And it doesn't matter if your voice is scratchy. A bedside is pretty much a no judgment zone. I see a hand. Hello.
Hello. Right now I'm spending time at the bedside of someone, and this person's close people who have come to also be at their bedside happen to be musicians. And so I've been thinking about what music to bring in. The dying person is not in a place to have songs that she wishes for us to sing, but she would like music. So anyways, I was curious if you have the music, like if there the actual notes for the songs that I could access so that the musicians might accompany some music. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I can definitely give you some of my music. I'd be honored. Um, why don't you put your email in the chat and tell me, just remind me of your situation. We don't bring instruments to bedsides generally, although if I were going to bring an instrument, I would bring a ukulele. It's soft enough, it's played right up here by your head, and it can sound like a harp. Um, and it can really simplify and um, accompany soft singing. So thank you for your question. Are there any more at this moment? Well, we've got a little bit of stop here. Yes, please.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I'm a recently retired physician, and for my entire career, over 40 years, when I had a patient that had chosen to go on hospice and knew they were going to die, and I was in nephrology, so people on dialysis, transplants, this happened several times every year. I had, and I still have, memorized 3 verses of Amazing Grace. And so I would offer to sing that for them while they were still in the hospital before they went home with hospice. And in only one time in all those years did someone refuse that. So I think people are more open to this idea than perhaps the general population would think.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm very comfortable doing that, and I do want to hear more about this program in our area. I do live in Port Angeles, so I will put my email in the chat, and Astrid, please reach out to me. I'd like to be involved.
Thank you, Nancy. I really appreciate your bringing up that song. You know, the story of its writing is so important.
Mhm.
And it's talking about transformation. And if death, you know, death is a lot of things, but I also think it's transformation.
Mhm.
And so it's a really beautiful, appropriate song. And so many people know it.
Mhm.
And there are so many ways to harmonize.
Mhm.
And so there's something kinesthetic that happens when we sing the first line in unison, and then we start the second line and the harmonies start. There's some little shiver that runs through our bodies, and I'm hoping that there is some scientist, excuse me, who will figure out what that is, because it's cultural, it's human, it happens to me every time. And I think that song really typifies that experience. And it's a hymn, and it has sort of non-religious,
Mhm.
excuse me, seeds. Does everybody know the story of Amazing Grace? I'll quickly say John Newton was a slaver, was on a boat between the African continent and I think the Bahamas. And a storm came up and he feared for his life and knelt on the deck and asked to be saved. And if he was saved, he promised to stop being a slaver. He was saved. He went home. He became an abolitionist, and that's the story of that poem. Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. Marcia,
Oh, I
where to
have
start?
3 comments based on what's been going on. One account that I've heard about Amazing Grace is that he was very moved by the sounds of the songs and the chants that the slaves were singing in the hold. That's just a piece of that story. I have another Amazing Grace story. This is one of those never assume anything. The song is stunning. I've done it many, many times at bedside. It brings tears, it brings prayerfulness. One time we were singing in the hallway outside one of the rooms at the residential hospice facility in Austin. And the woman came out of the room like, so we thought, we brought our phrase right to a close and started moving on. And she came after us because we assumed that they didn't want any singing. She came kind of scampering after us to say, no, 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 please don't leave. We want you to keep singing, just not that song. Which just taught me how important it is to keep our minds open and keep our own assumptions at bay. You never know. And we must minister to the people that we're there for.
Beautifully said, Marcia. It's really important. I don't think we know yet whether familiar songs are always going to be better than unfamiliar songs. We don't know that. Or whether, there's a lot of ocean songs, and half of them are about coming into safe harbor, and the other half are about sailing off to the horizon. And you're right, it's in the moment, it's feeling it out, it's not feeling like you've made a terrible mistake if you start the wrong song or sing it in the wrong key. A mistake at a bedside is very easily corrected in the moment with very little flurry and certainly no apologies.
And we never know what our songs will trigger. Sometimes tears are a wonderful thing, and sometimes people don't want the tears.
Exactly.
And want something else. We just have to stay so open and connected.
Yeah.
And I had one other comment regarding bringing music that might not be singing words. One time my partners in song were not there, and so I chose to do our regular weekly service at our hospice facility in Austin. I chose to do it on my own. And like you, Kate, it's the harmonies where the angels live. I'm a compulsive harmonizer myself.
There should be a name for that.
What's that?
There should be a name for someone who can't help but harmonize.
Yeah, well,
Pick it up.
I call myself a compulsive harmonizer for now, till you think of something better.
Okay, good.
So there I was. I mean, I always hear the harmonies in my head, so I feel like I bring them, even if the people don't hear them. And so this was one of those cases, and I came to a place where there was a loved one visiting that I believe was the mother of the person in the bed who was the mother was not that old herself, so that the person who was dying had to be very young. And it was an Asian woman who was sitting in unbelievable positions on a yoga mat while I was singing. And the whole time I was singing, which was probably 15 or 20 minutes, she was doing her thing on the yoga mat. And afterward, actually it was halfway through, she came to me and she said, "Your songs are so beautiful." And I think she said something about the harmonies. And the most inspiring and important thing that she said to me was, "I especially appreciate when there are no words." So many times when we sing a song, the last time or two through it, we just hum it. And I had never stopped to think about how key that might be to some people. And this woman made me realize that that can be the most important of all of it. You know, as we think about it, as people are seated around a loved one who's dying and the person who is dying, we don't know what's going on in their minds. And we know how beautiful the words are, but they might not be at all tuned in to the words. It's the gestalt of it that they're tuned in to. And that comment of hers has very much informed my singing at Bedside from that point on.
Thank you.
Remembering that that's doable. So if you have a bunch of people who can carry a tune and harmonize, you might not need any words. You might not need any songs. Which reminds me of one of your songs, Kate.
Right, you may only need two hearts beating. What you said reminded me that one of the functions of our singing at bedsides is to empower families to sing together for their loved one, to remind them that it's not a big deal, and that maybe there was a farmer had a dog and Bingo was his name, was a favorite in their childhood, and that would bring some delight and comfort to a dying parent. I think too many people flutter around the bed of someone who is dying and bake brownies and tuna casseroles with potato chips crumbled on top and forget that what's really important is for you to sit quietly at the bedside of your beloved person and read them a poem, read them a story, sing a song, share golden moments of silence with them. I think we can model that for families. We can also model that a discreet tear might trickle down our cheek, even as singers, and that's really okay. And it's really a response, an accurate response to the situation. Great heaving sobs on our part, not so much, but a discreet tear is really important. The other thing that you evoked is how humming, especially a closed mouth hum, gives you this exact gauge for how softly to sing at a bedside. And I'm going to leave that there. Thank you, Marcia. I really appreciate it. Fee, would you
Hey.
unmute yourself?
Yeah, I'm a newbie, and I did joy singing threshold choir, and being a hospice nurse. I think it's the threshold choirs go hand in hand with my mission. It's a calling, and I'm not very good singer, and I get so frustrated because I can't remember all the lyrics. But you know what? I learned it's the harmony, I'm so nervous about learning the lyrics, and I don't have to. So I just the second thing I say, what I have done with my hospice patient, I usually group hug, or we pray together at the bedside, because it means a lot to them. You don't have to say anything, you just being there. It really helped them a lot, And also I look for a network connection, because I just moved from LA to Las Vegas, and I learned that they don't have threshold choir in Las Vegas. So if anybody know who been threshold choir, just let me know. I put my email on the chat.
I see
and
it,
then
and a connection will be made.
Yeah, another thing, want to share. I'm from Vietnam, so death to our culture is a celebration. We explore the death, even the young kid, and we celebrate for 2 weeks, to celebrate the life. So, that's I just want to share. Thank you.
Come earn. Astrid.
Yeah, I can't avoid to, you sort of address that, but I'm a little bit curious. You talk about being present and, to be very attentive. And I wonder if you can address, how do we know when to sing, what to sing, how long, what are the cues that you would be looking for?
We love to sing when we're invited. The invitation is very important. And sometimes a hospice nurse or a social worker or a chaplain can act as interface for us, because it's a little awkward to walk into somebody's room and say, would you like us to sing for you? It kind of, we want people to have a little more choice there. So when we're invited, we go in, we float in as quietly as possible, move as little furniture as possible. We bring our own stools, and we usually start in silence, and we maintain silence in between the songs. One person is an anchor and is the connection to the family and to the person in the bed. The rest of us might not speak, but just follow the anchor. 20 minutes is a good amount of time for someone who is at the end of their life and not strong, not robust. They can be ready for it to be done at about 20 minutes. And how I like to end it is, would you like another song, or are you ready to rest? The answer is yes, no matter what. And so we want to avoid unnecessary politeness, and let the patient, the person in the bed, be the deciding one. And then we float out. I like to leave singing myself. I think that just moving sound as it leaves the room is very moving to me. So that's how I would get out of there. Thanks for asking that question, Astrid.
Thank you.
Karen, how nice to hear from Flagstaff.
Yes, wonderful to see you, and what a wonderful thing to see all my sisters and brothers here. I just wanted to respond to what you had said about choosing songs, because what I'm really aware of is that quite a lot of the time for me and for my choir members, it is very intuitive, and I don't think that there's any wrong song. And one of the songs that has come to me several times at different bedsides, both with people who are in the process of dying and people who are not, is your song, We Begin Again in Love, because it's about forgiveness. And I have on occasion, the first couple of times I felt very nervous about singing a song about forgiveness, like, well, maybe I was being assumptive that they needed forgiveness or something. But what I realized is, I will ask sometimes, would you like a song about forgiveness? I've never had anybody say no. And I think that it is one of the very, very meaningful songs. So I thank you for the song and for everything you've started and kept going here. But
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you, Karen. I'd like to mention one other song that I always ask about, and it's one that goes, it's all right, you can go, your memories are safe with us. I would never sing that without asking. If it's not I have to have permission for that song. And when I get it and it's the right song, for the moment, it's tremendous. Yolanda, welcome.
Thank you, Kate. You know, I think what's so great that you're giving different examples. And I always tell my little choir that one of the most stunning moments that I was able to witness when I was a very beginning threshold singer with you, we went into a home in Oakland, and the wife was a Latina, and she was very excited about us coming. She welcomed us, and we went into the room, Kate, and I think you led us in one song, and then it was very clear the gentleman did not want us there. And I got to witness how you handled that, because when I first moved to Oregon, I had a similar situation. And had I not had that modeling of how to do that in a very calm and respectful way, and yet you acknowledged his wife, who had just was so proud that they had been married 50 years or whatever. And you surprised me and turned to me and said, why don't you sing a song in Spanish for his wife? And then I sang Solamente una vez, one time in your life. And that's how it went. And it just showed me, number one, how to get out of a situation and honor the no from the person in the bed, and yet how to turn to family and maybe give them something.
Yeah. Well, anytime someone tells me how they want, how they are, how they want things to go, I say thank you. Thank you for your clarity.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you for saying that. Marcia. So before you say anything, Marcia, I just want to say Yolanda's in Bend, Marcia's in Austin, Karen is in Flagstaff, Lulu is in Minnesota, Shoshana is in Berkeley. You know, there are choirs in just about all the major places in the United States and Australasia, New Zealand and Australia, some in the British Isles, Mexico, Canada. I'm so grateful as to the way that this concept has spread. And the question in Mexico, is it somebody's going to have to answer that in the chat, because
Oaxaca.
Oaxaca.
I think, yeah.
Oh, and
Edie.
Tecate, that's right, at Rancho La Puerta.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to call on Marcia, but I just remembered a little incident a story I wanted to tell, and that is on Monday, I sang at the bedside of the daughter of the 104-year-old woman that we sang for in 2002, who she was so great. We have a wonderful photograph of her, the East Bay Threshold, the Threshold Singers of the East Bay. This woman's name was Such, and she's lying in her bed. The Oakland Tribune photographer came to visit, and he put his camera way up in the air and took a picture down, looking down on Such's bed. Her hair is arrayed behind her. Her hands are clasped over her bosom, and she's looking up to the angels as she's being sung to by 4 people. And her daughter is also in that picture, singing as well. And now on Monday, I got to sing for her daughter, who is now dying. I think that's a first in the Threshold Choir, the first second generation bedside. And it moved me and Betsy very, very much. Marcia.
Wow. That's so moving. About how to start. One of our members, well, I mentioned before that, well, I may not have mentioned it. Most of the bedside singing that I do is at Hospice Austin residential hospice facility. So it's unusual that we know the person, and it's unusual that we have been specifically requested. We show up on Tuesday mornings and we do the entire hall. There's a maximum of 12 people there. And one of our members once suggested that we start always by singing in the hallway. And when I first came to Austin, that's the only way they were singing. And then they got brave enough. This is and one of the groups that you had not launched, Kate. So they went off on their own, creating the Threshold Choir with some beautiful people with beautiful voices and beautiful songs. And they felt like they would be intruding by going past these closed doors and offering to sing. So they would ask the nurses to ask. But the nurses didn't really know what to ask because they didn't really know what we were about. So this one singer suggested that we just sing in the hallway. And as the people are humming in the hallway, the one person knocks on the door gently and goes inside. So I'll introduce myself. I'll say we're from the Threshold Choir. And then all I have to say is, you probably heard us singing in the hallway. So then when I ask if they would like us to sing songs for them, because before we did this, people would say, oh, well, what kinds of songs? And the only answer I could think of would be to sing a song, like May Peace Be With You or some kind of gentle song like that. Whereas when they've heard the sample of us singing or humming in the hallway, it makes that very easy.
Thank you. Oh, I had a really important response to what you were saying, and now I'm not remembering what it was. Oh, it'll come back. That's the lovely thing about hanging around with people with gray hair. We all drop a stitch from time to time. I want to offer, if anybody needs more information about the Threshold Choir, you can go to the website, www.thresholdchoir.org. There are only 2 H's in threshold, not 3. Or you can email me. I'm kateamunger@gmail.com. The list of all the choir members that are on this call is, I think that's why I got distracted by Marcia when Marcia was speaking. Bless you all so much for coming. It's really been so much fun to gather the tribe. And my definition of tribe has always been friends who all know the same songs. And so even though we can't hear each other in this Zoom format, and for which I'm very grateful, the Zoom format has got so many advantages to not being connected that I really appreciate being able to be connected wherever we are. And I see that Heidi has put the website, Heidi, the executive director of the Threshold Choir, has put the website in the chat. Any other questions or comments? I see one. Vicky.
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
I'm up in British Columbia. I just really appreciate getting the enriching spiritual background to your journey to creating the Threshold Choir. We share the story when we go and speak to people in public of how Kate got this going, but you've just embellished it in a way that is so meaningful. And I just thank you so much for that. It's deepening to us. And I just wanted to pass on a funny story of sharing Threshold songs at a hospice daycare program. And some of the people liked it and some didn't. And one guy said, oh, no, this isn't for me. When I go out, I want Stairway to Heaven. And I said, we could do that. We could do that. Like you say, any song can be a lullaby. So yeah, thank you so, so much.
You're very welcome, Vicky. Thank you for reminding me that speaking about purpose is really important. And I started the Threshold Choir when I was 50, and I'd had a pretty good life up until that point. But what happened the moment I started the choir is I understood every minute of every day that I was fulfilling my purpose and had figured out why I was sent here. And I knew that because every step was clear. Every person I'd ever known came back into my life and had a value to what I was doing. Every skill I'd ever developed, everything I ever knew was called in to this work. And I tell you, I've had a lot of joy in my life, and the knowing why I'm here is really the top of that list. So thank you for reminding me of that. Shoshana.
Hi, Kate. Thank you
Hi.
so much for this, and thank
You're
you to
welcome.
the Volunteer Hospice. One thing that you kind of alluded to in the description of what this was, and then you made a statement early on about bedsides are no judgment zone. I know that as we have aging voices, and some of us might have been singing in choirs at some point in our life, as not everybody has that perfect voice. And I know sometimes it can be challenging at bedsides when there's a certain expectation, usually among the singers ourselves, not the people we're singing to, that we have to get it just so. And I'm always about, it's the intention. The intention is what it's all about. And I have struggled. I've had issues with my voice due to a health issue. And I'm going to sing. I don't care. I'm going to keep singing. So I think that that's something that we can always be reminded of. I know that I don't think I'm a singular voice in saying it's about intention, but sometimes I feel like it gets lost, unfortunately.
I agree with you, and I think if you're going to a bedside, it's worth it to really warm up, really lubricate your voice. But most voices are better than nothing, and I would say just keep trying and work on it with a vocal coach if you can. Thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Hi, Anne from Walnut Creek.
Hi, Kate. My question is that this Saturday I will be one of the singers at the memorial for Pat Gonsalves, and I'm concerned I'm going to be crying when singing. And I wonder if she would address that. Pat was our Threshold Choir music director for years. And
like I said, a discreet tear or 5 is okay. If it prevents you from singing, it can be very uncomfortable to cry and sing at the same time. If it prevents you from singing, I would say stop singing for a minute. Wipe your eyes. Everybody will understand. You're indicating that she meant a lot to you, that she mattered. I think it's perfectly I'm a big cheerleader for crying whenever possible. I think we hold our tears in to the detriment of our health. So cry on, Anne.
thank you, Kate.
You're welcome. Oma, I see your hand raised.
I just want to offer a personal thank you, lots of gratitude for these choirs and for the choir we have here in Port Townsend, because it has brought a lot of meaning to each of us in our joining together. We're sisters, and there's been a lot of beauty caused by, or a catalyst for beauty. And just the simple songs and the gentleness of this path has been very, very wonderful for all of us. So a personal thank you, Kate Munger.
Thank you, Oma. I would like to ask 4 of you to raise your hand and volunteer to sing the song that comes to you right now as a solo in the way that you would sing it at a bedside, softly, quietly, so that those of us that aren't, those of us on the call that aren't in a threshold choir could hear the variety of voices. Okay, come on, people. Yolanda, Kay, put your little hands up so your reaction hands. Okay, good. That's the 4. So, Catherine, perfect. Karen, will you start?
Sure. May you dwell in the heart. May you be free from suffering. May you be healed. May you be at peace. May you dwell in the heart. May you be free from suffering. May you be healed. May you be at peace.
I hope you all heard the time she took. Karen didn't rush at all. And I think that that quality of singing as slowly as you possibly can gives the person in the bed that we're singing for the sense that we have all the time in the world. And they are the most important thing that's happening for us right now. And that's a very important thing, I think, to convey to someone who's dying. Penelope from Santa Barbara.
In this moment, all is well. In this moment, peace is mine. In this moment, I am held in the arms of love divine. In this moment, all is well. In this moment, peace is mine. In this moment, I am held in the arms of love divine.
Thank you, Penelope. What I loved about that song, and I'm hoping you'll put your website name in the chat, because Penelope has written a lot of songs that we sing at bedsides. What I heard was a song that could be harmonized so beautifully. Thank you. Yolanda, I hope you're going to sing in Spanish, please. You are muted. Well, you know what? I'm going to pass to Kay while you figure it out and find a Spanish song. Kay from Sonoma County. Kay Caldwell. You're muted.
I just unmuted it. It's a little complicated on this. I have a new computer. Anywhere I am can be holy forest. Anywhere Peace and quiet can be anywhere I am. Peace and quiet within me. Anywhere I am, I wish you could harmonize. Holy forest. Anywhere I am can be sacred sea. Peace and quiet can be anywhere I am. Peace and quiet within me.
Thank you, Kay. I heard a funny alternative verse there, word. Anywhere, anywhere I am can be sacred forest. I'm sorry.
And thank you, Kate, for that lovely song.
You know, it's one of my favorites, and it's one that I get more thanks from more people. I think it really grounds people to sing it. And I just sang it. The harmony that I wrote is below the tune, and I just sang it for the first time an octave above the tune, and it works really well. And I think I will share that at some point because it's a nice alternative. Thank you, Kay. Okay, Yolanda.
Well, I can sing lullaby in Spanish or one of my mother's favorite songs.
Would you sing lullaby because it being International Women's Day,
Oh, yes.
I like to honor Chris Williamson.
Oh, yes. Okay. We sang this a lot at Children's Hospital. Como puerto seguro, te ofrezco mi amor. En mis brazos descansa. No tengas temor. Las olas te arrullan. En mis brazos estás. Angelitos te cantan canciones de paz.
Waltzes are very lovely at bedsides. You know, it's a comforting rhythm. You feel it in your body. Thank you. So, Catherine from El Cerrito, excuse me, is the living room where the Threshold Choir was born 23 years minus 13 days ago. And if you ever hear somebody have a good idea, offer to have their first meeting in your living room, because you will be thanked and revered for a long time, as is Catherine.
Thank you. I put my hand up kind of late and I decided put it back up. This is a song I had just learned as I got on the plane to Portland, Oregon, to see my son at his deathbed, basically on hospice. And I sang it all the way on the plane so I could remember it when I got there. Every blade of grass has an angel teaching it to grow. Every drop of rain has an angel teaching it to flow. Every flower and tree, every wave on the never-ending sea. If every drop of rain has an angel, why not you and me? Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. That's by Gina Rose Halpern, who founded the interfaith seminary here in Berkeley called Chi. So you're getting a real sense of the breadth and the quality of our songs, the repetitive nature, the simplicity, the directness of our songs are all very important because we have to really help each other speak the truth about death and the preciousness that we share while we share it. So I think we're winding down. I wonder if there's any short thing that anybody would like to say before we end. I would like to play Walking Each Other Home. And I can't sing over the recording, but I would love to know that you're all singing with me and singing the harmonies and really feeling the truth that we are all walking each other home. Because even if we don't think we are, we are. Thank you, Astrid, for this tremendous opportunity to pull our tribe together. Please ask me again. And let's see here. Where in the world might it be? There it is. So I want to thank John for being on tap to correct any mistakes that we made. And all of you for being here today. It really made my day. I'm very, very happy that we could spend this time together.
We are all just walking each other home. 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 We are all just walking each other home.
Thank you, Kate. This was now
Thank you again, Astrid.
now it's my time to cry. This was incredibly inspiring, very deep, extremely relevant to our times, and I can't thank you enough for bringing such a lovely group together. Thank you so much, Kate.